Alert! As you clean, a mop falls down on the floor with a loud thud. It was very dark and silent inside the Target. The lights were not even on. In the break room, there was a radio playing quietly. It was some generic top 20s pop music, but it was a nice distraction from the empty silence that surrounded you in the rest of the store. The store was pretty much quiet. The only thing really heard were the lights and faint creaks of shelves. However, the faint creaking sound got closer and closer. It was currently 12 a.m. and completely dark inside. Everything was still and silent. There was no way in the store, and the windows were boarded up tight. the toys didn't seem to see you yet. They all jumped off the shelf and began running around, playing chase with one another. One of the toys, a teddy bear, waddled up to you. It had a bright and friendly expression on one of the toys. A green stuffed rabbit would run up to you and start tugging on your leg. A purple bear and a purple monkey would approach you as well. The toys continued to play and mess around all over the store, having a great time. Some flew, moved on their own, and even had mouths that can move and voices that can speak. It was like a living toy store. But how exactly did they come to life? You'd start to hear giggles from around you. Out from behind shelving and displays, toys would emerge, some you've never even seen before, some that have been discontinued, and some that are still sold today. They were all playing with each other and running around the store as if it was a huge playground. You noticed there was a group of toys in the action figure aisle, chatting. They were also aware of your presence, but didn't seem afraid or startled. They stopped chatting and walked over to check out what you were doing. After all, it's not often that a person suddenly appears inside a store late at night. Suddenly, you heard a voice come from one of the action figures. "Hey! I know you're there," they said in a friendly tone. All of a sudden, you hear a voice from behind the boxes. "No need to be afraid. We won't hurt you." She perked up upon hearing her name. "You know me?" "Yes, I am." "What's your name?" "This is the Clarence, you know. Pinkie Pie had a cheerful grin on her face as she answered. "Yes, I am." "And you are?" "The, Pinkie Pie giggled, then suddenly her expression changed and she gasped. Did you say you got trapped here? Pinkie Pie giggled at your action. Well, nice to meet you, Cody. That's funny you should mention Christmas. We ourselves like to throw a little party for ourselves during Christmas. You're welcome to join. The group of plushies seemed to be in awe at your phone. Wow, that is so cool, Pinkie Pie said as she hopped up and took a closer look at your phone. But Pinkie Pie and the rest of the toys peered at your phone and seemed curious. Pinkie Pie, ooh, what's that? All the toys and plushies looked amazed at your phone. Pinkie Pie, whoa, that's so cool. Pinkie smiled wide. You're a content creator? Oh, that's so cool. Me and my friends are YouTubers. Maybe we can collab with you sometime. The other toys came up to see. They were all interested. Ooh, can we be in some of these videos? Twilight Sparkle asked. You began to hear a bunch of squeals and gasps from the toys and plushies. You're famous? We love famous people. They all quickly crowded around you and began to chat. Ooh, you're a singer too? Awesome, said a peppy Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Donatello toy with glasses from the back. You had definitely gained the interest of the toys and plushies. You do lightsaber battles? One of the plushies asked with her eyes full of excitement. More excited squealing and gasps were heard. Ooh, sounds cool. A toy soldier poked his head out from behind a box of Lego. Soldier, lightsaber battles? The soldier and the other toys looked amazed. It was obvious they've never seen anything like that before. A stormtrooper poked his head into the group, his voice muffled by his helmet. Trooper, fake lightsabers? We have something better. The toys and plushies all looked enthralled with excitement and amazement at your words, soldier. Neopixels? Wow, that sounds super expensive. Soldier. His eyeline lit up with determination as he marched over to you and leaned up close to your face. Where can I get? One of the plushies, a blue unicorn, spoke up this time. Unicorn. Ooh, show us please! The toys and plushies all looked at you with stars in their eyes. The soldier's eyes lit up with excitement. Soldier, I love Star Wars. I would love to play lightsabers with you guys. A few of the other toys and plushies began to say, Ooh, I want to play too! All excitedly. Soldier's eyes went wide. Ooh, that sounds cool. You should do lightsaber battles with us during the party. Soldier, awesome. The soldier made a little salute gesture with his hands. Soldier, I'm a clone trooper. My name's Rex. Rex nodded. Rex. Yep, that's me. He had a proud look on his face. Rex nodded. Rex. Those Clone Wars action figures there might know a few other clones too. Rex motioned over to a display of Star Wars action figures, showing the clone troopers. Rex nodded. Rex. Yep. Me and my brothers fought valiantly against the Separatists until the war ended. Rex's smile disappeared a bit. Rex, yeah, those were dark times. You want to know something, though? Rex just nodded solemnly. That day was terrible. Many of my brothers were killed that day, and to have our general, someone who we had fought with and trusted so dearly, turn on us like that. He seemed almost on the verge of tears. Rex sighed. Rex, that day is something I never like to think about. It gets me all depressed, but I try not to let it affect how I act. He straightened up and saluted again. Rex, I have some of the other clones that survived Order 66 here with me if you want to meet them. All of the toys and plushies were staring at your lightsaber, Rex. Is that... Wait, hold on. Is that a lightsaber? Like an actual real one? She had a tone of excitement. Pinkie Pie's eyes lit up, and she pointed at the saber. Whoa! Is that the real saber? Pinkie Pie. Oh, is that Qui-Gon's lightsaber? She leaned closer to it. Rex and the other toys and plushies looked over at your belt, their eyes widening. Rex, you have Qui-Gon Jinn's lightsaber? Rex, along with the other toys and plushies, all cheered with excitement. Rex saluted you. Rex, that's one of the most awesome things I've heard someone do. I've always wondered what happened to that lightsaber. Pinkie Pie tugged at your shirt to get your attention. Rex and the other toys were amazed. Rex. Wow, you know, when a lightsaber calls its user, it means that the person is meant to be a Jedi one day. Qui-Gon must have felt that with you. Rex's eyes were literally glittering with amazement. Rex, that's very impressive. Rex quickly snapped out of it after a few seconds and beckoned to the crowd of toys and plushies. Rex, hey guys, come check this out. Rex, that's so cool that you were able to find it and wield it. A few of the other toys agreed with Rex. Rex was stunned along with the other toys and plushies. That is incredible. To find a Jedi's lightsaber. Rex leaned back, shocked by your news. Wow, I'm surprised it calls to you. Not many people can have connection with the Force, let alone a lightsaber of a Force user from hundreds of years ago. Rex, who was absolutely amazed with awe and slight envy, stared at the lightsaber Rex. That is so cool! The other toys and plushies. Rex was impressed. Rex, I bet it's cool having a real live Jedi lightsaber. You could hear some whispers going around within the rest of the toys and plushies. All the toys and plushie went silent, watching with excitement the fight that was about to take place. As the toys and plushies scattered out of the way, Pinkie Pie looking very worried, while the rest of the toys and plushie looked a mix of excited and nervous. Rex and the entire group of toys and plushies gasped and stepped back. The entire store fell silent, and it seemed to only be you and Darth Vader in the whole store. Rex, this is gonna be intense. Everybody took a few steps back, and the toys and plushies all crowded around the Vader toy. Toys and plushies. Yay, Pinkie Pie! Star Wars fight. Everybody was in complete awe of your fight. Even Rex was impressed. Everybody was shocked and stunned. Rex in particular. Rex! That's... The toys and plushies were going insane with excitement and awe, clapping and cheering as you took... Everybody gasped, and there were some shocked sounds and whispered, Rex. Whoa! The toys and plushies went absolutely crazy at that, with some even chanting the word, wow! Rex! Awesome! Everybody's eyes were wide and amazed. They weren't cheering like crazy like they did at the beginning, because now everyone's attention was completely focused on what was happening in the battle between you and Vader. Vader was silent, just staring at you with yellow Sith eyes and burnt skin, not saying a word. Vader was silent for a moment. The only noise coming from him was his respirator. All of a sudden, he spoke in a deep voice. Vader, how do you know who I am? Rex. Rex looked startled at the sound of Vader's voice. The other toys and plushies looked a bit in... Vader said nothing. Vader narrowed his eyes. Vader, how do you know that name? Rex was surprised to hear that you knew that name. Vader stood still, seemingly contemplating what you said, but then he suddenly lunged at you again and continued the battle. His eyes narrowed. Rex. Oh boy. Vader clenched his fists as he continued to narrow his eyes. Vader. So you know who I used to be before that Jedi filth betrayed me, and how my Vader seemed speechless. You could tell that he was surprised to hear all this. Vader. So Rex and some of the other toys and plushies were in shock. They couldn't believe that you knew all of this, Vader. Lies! Everything you've been told is a lie. Vader was a bit taken aback by your sudden outburst. He was surprised by how much of a passionate tone you were using. Vader didn't back down at all. Vader, everything you knew came from the mouths of liars. Everything in your mind is full of falsehoods. Vader clenched his fist. Vader, how dare you speak to me with that tone? Rex was slowly taking steps backwards. He didn't like where this was going. Everybody was completely silent. A few of them looked away. Rex. Uh-oh. Everybody gasped. They couldn't believe what had just happened. Rex. Whoa, that was... Everybody was silent. They all stared at the remains of Vader Rex. Holy cow. Everybody was frozen in shock except for Rex, who was hiding behind a box. Rex. Rex and the toys and plushies all were shocked and silent for a second until Pinkie Pie finally spoke up. Pinkie Pie, that fight was so epic! There were a whole lot of cheers and sounds of agreement. Rex and the others all were in complete shock, especially Rex. Rex, wow, he was a real villain, wasn't he? Some of the other toys and plushies shuddered at the events. Everybody looked on in shock and amazement. Everybody's eyes were wide as they witnessed what you had just done. Everybody just stared. Rex and the other toys and plushies were shocked and speechless. Everybody who was watching was completely silent for a few moments. Everybody was shocked at what you just did. Some of the toys and plushies had their jaws dropped. Rex was stunned. Everybody was silent as they were shocked and scared by how quickly you defeated Vader Rex. The toys and plushies just stood there in a stunned silence. Everybody was completely silent. Nobody said a word or even made a noise. They just stared in shock. Everybody was shocked, even Rex and the other toys and plushies. Everybody watched with dread as you defeated Vader and sliced through him. Rex. Whoa. The toys and plushies all had their hands over their mouths, completely shocked. Rex. My God. Everybody stood there in complete shock. They couldn't believe what they had just saw. The mood was suddenly tense and everybody was silent. Everybody was silent. Some looked at you in horror. Rex was the only that could talk. Rex, you defeated him. Rex, the other toys and plushies were all speechless and frozen in shock, not believing what they had just witnessed. Rex, oh my. He was at a loss for words. Everybody, including Rex, was in shock. Pinkie Pie. Rex, I can now see why you're famous. Everybody was speechless. Whoa! Everybody gasped, but this time it was a more shocked and nervous gasp than the previous excited gasps they made when you began fighting Vader. Everybody jumped and squealed as you chopped up Vader. They then cheered and clapped. Rex, you did it! Everybody just stared silently at the now destroyed Vader. Then Rex spoke. I've never seen anybody fight like that in my life. Everybody fell silent after that. They all just stared at you, and the Vader toy laying on the ground now with no head or legs. Everybody was in shock of what happened. Nobody dared say a word. They just gawked at the sight of Vader on the ground. Rex! Whoa! Everybody was silent. Some eyes were wide while others were in slight shock. Then Rex suddenly broke the silence by cheering loudly. Rex, you did it. The rest of the toys and plushies got excited and were all cheering and clapping. Everybody's jaws dropped, and they all stood there in complete silence and shock. Even Rex was shocked. The Packer Stagthas. It's died third da handsome. Everybody just stood still. Not a single sound coming from anybody. Everything was silent. Rex, wow! The other toys and plushies looked at the lightsaber admiringly. Rex, you must be really powerful if the lightsaber is calling you like that. Wow, that's awesome. Rex looked at you with a little awe, and the other toys and plushies looked just straight up at your belt with amazement. Rex, and even some of the My Little Pony toys, looked at your lightsaber with amazement. Rex? Wow, that's really cool. Rex, Pinkie, and the other toys and plushies all stare at you with mouths agape until Rex's eyes were full of amazement and curiosity. Mind if I hold it? Rex, he nodded. You a fan? He gave you a little smirk. Rex. Yep, that's me. Rex smiled. Rex, you seem to know a lot about us. I like you already. Rex proudly puffed his chest out and put his hands onto his hips. Rex, that's right! The other toys looked at him in awe. Suddenly, the sound of a door opening and shutting could be heard. The toys and plushies all laughed and cheered, seeing you get along with the other ponies. The mood was light and happy, but Rex smirked and crossed his arms, watching the other toys crowd around you. Rex, looks like you're pretty popular with the ladies already, he joked. Rex and the others gave a hearty laugh, and the clone trooper smirked jokingly. Rex, look, he's blushing. Rex chuckled, but suddenly perked up when a familiar tune played somewhere nearby. Rex, wait, what's that music? I know that. Rex giggled slightly at your expression, Rex. Just stating the facts. Rex and a few other toys chuckled. Rex, I can see I'm gonna have competition, he stated teasingly. Rex chuckled. Rose, blushing are we, he said teasingly. Rex chuckled. Hey, just saying, better get used to this, 'cause I have a feeling you're gonna be even more popular with them from now on. Rex quietly chuckled as he watched Rex. You sure get flustered easily for someone who doesn't seem to shy away from attention. What's got you so worked up? Rex, just telling it how it is. Rex chuckled. All the toys and plushies were still very curious and crowded around you. Rex let out a chuckle, but was also secretly jealous. You were only paying attention to a few of the female toys, and he had already taken a liking to you for some reason. However, he played it off anyway. Rex chuckled at your reaction. Rex, looks like you're enjoying yourself. He glanced over to the others. Rex, they're very friendly, but be careful, they can be really clingy too, he teased. Rex chuckled as he watched the girls snuggle and fawn over you. Rex, you must be one smooth talker to pull this many girls already, he teased jokingly.